Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Transparency. Let's talk about it. CEO Brian Thompson, gunned down, shot, assassinated, and folks want to say that the killer is playing a game. He's playing a game. Also, the mayor wants to say that they've identified the killer, but we're not going to announce that name. These are the 5 things we're going to talk about, plus a bonus category. We're going to talk about Monopoly money. We're going to talk about the new pictures out of the cab. We're going to talk about the DOJ press release from November 12th, 2024. We're going to talk about Lana's favorite pieces in the board game Monopoly. I always picked the car. Okay, I went and grabbed my 50th anniversary game edition, I believe, where they have like the actual wooden houses and the actual wooden hotels. Okay. I went and grabbed out my New York Avenue deed, and I grabbed out all of my money. 500, 100, my 50, my 20, my 10, 5, and 1. Now, fun fact for you guys. Did you guys know that the only life-size piece in Monopoly is the motherfucking thimble? The thimble. My mom was always the thimble. And we haven't played in so long. She'd probably still be the thimble. But in the game Monopoly, the only life-size piece of the moving pieces, as well as the deed cards, as well as the cash, the only real life-size piece is the thimble. Just a fun fact for you. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about they identified a killer, but won't say the name. Do we believe that? Topic 5 is this a game to the killer? And then the bonus category is, if so, are others in dangers? Are others in danger? And does this have any resemblance to Catch Me If You Can? Let's talk about the first thing, though, which is Monopoly money. I've added stuff to my timeline. I will refer back to that to show you where I've added stuff. But right here, if they've used, the internet to say, let's go ahead and see who's bought on eBay, for example. I just pulled this up for you guys. You guys can buy genuine Monopoly replacement money. So would the killer be that dumb as to go use their own board game Monopoly that they could possibly have DNA on? And maybe just not their DNA, but people that they've played the game with, okay, which could then possibly get them a hit in the system, and then a family member or a friend or something like that. So is our authorities right now, hey, let's look up and see who's bought replacement Monopoly money? Is that such a thing? And the answer is yes, and you can do it. I'm just showing you one of the samples. I went on eBay this morning and checked out to see if right here, yes, you can buy genuine Monopoly replacement money. So there'd probably be a bunch of different sites that you could do this. So is it like the Brian Kohlberger case where they went ahead and got search warrants for Amazon, eBay, to see who's bought Monopoly money? Okay. When I heard about the Monopoly money, I said, ding, ding, ding. What have we been talking about on this channel? Which is, I don't believe this was a disgruntled patient. I believe this is somebody that has obviously inside knowledge, knew where Brian was going to be and when he was going to be there. But the main thing is the side of the sidewalk he was on, knowing that he would come that way from the hotel that he was coming from. When did Brian make his hotel reservations? When did he know he was staying where he was staying? That sort of thing. But this Monopoly money, well, what has United Health been trying to do, or at least the DOJ has been saying that they've been trying to do? Create a monopoly in the healthcare industry. That's exactly what they've been doing. All right. Question from the cheap seats over here. Scott says, can you buy counterfeit Monopoly money? That's the only kind I buy. So good morning. Now, number 2. So we're going to move on from speaking on the fact that, yes, when I think of Monopoly money, when I think of the game Monopoly, it's exactly what it's saying that it is. Hey, hello, guys. United Healthcare is trying to create a monopoly. Again, warning who? All of us. We are the consumers, right? Okay, we are the clientele. Hey, wake up. Wake up, America. All right. The word troll comes to mind. People want to say, is this killer trolling the police? Funny that they want to use the word trolling. I won't use that word, but it's been said, is the killer trolling the police? No, I just think that this was very pre-planned. This was calculated. And then you have people saying, well, calculated doesn't make you a professional. I guarantee you this person thinks that they're a professional. Not that they're a professional killer, but they're professional at what they do. Like, I consider myself a professional. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. Like, that's what I think of when I think of professional. I don't, think of, I'm a professional YouTuber. No, I'm just a professional, period. I handle my shit. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to half-ass my shit. So if I'm going to go to New York City and shoot somebody in the back, a CEO, and my reasonings for doing it, whatever they may be, I'm going to bring my A game. I'm going to be a professional. So now someone says that it's a modern day Robin Hood. I don't know how we're stealing them from anybody and giving to the poor, unless all of a sudden we just started getting all of our claims passed through and that healthcare goes significantly down in the cost of it. I guess that could be a way that she would be giving to the poor. But this is more for me, and you're going to see at the end of the show here, when I round it all out, that this has to do with me about the judges as well, because somebody had to approve these mergers, these acquisitions, when the DOJ is fighting it and saying no, and saying these are the reasons why this shouldn't happen. But a judge is saying, thanks, but we're going to go ahead and let this through. So let's talk about the judges in these certain situations, because they are just as much in it because they're allowing it to happen. But the DOJ is claiming that they're trying to do everything they can do to stop it. So Monopoly money could have been bought. Do I think that search warrants would have been going out to see who's bought replacement Monopoly money? Absolutely. Why not? What else do they fucking have? What else do they have to do? Get some search warrants for eBay. See who's bought replacement Monopoly money. Okay. Now, the new pictures from the cab. Let's talk about that. Next up. I didn't even realize, cabs were still a thing. I know, funny me, huh? Let's go to, there we go. Let me share it on the screen. I'm sure all of you guys have seen this, but here's the new photo. Okay. This is leaning in on the side of the right. This is leaning up and to speak to the cab driver. And then the one on the left there was a side camera. And so it got this alleged shooter from leaving. Now, the first thing I thought about is, holy shit, Bryan Kohberger was let out on bail. If you guys didn't think the same thing, well, you're not following that Hood 4 case. So cheers to me. I made that known in my community post that I said, holy shit, Bryan Kohberger is out on bail. Nobody told me about this. And he is in New York. Okay. Or my next thought was, holy shit, everybody has bushy eyebrows. Okay. And where was this person on November 12th, 2022? I want to know. Into November 13th, 2022. I want to know where this person was. Literally clad in all black, bushy brows. All right. thin, tall built. All right. 5'10", maybe, taller. And I'm just like, holy shit. This is like literally the description. Okay. And then they're talking about using IgG, which is investigative genetic genealogy. And so I'm just like, oh my God, where was this man? But I guess it's just the year of bushy brows. But this is from the cab, getting out of the cab, well, leaning into the cab, then getting out of the cab and going into the port where all the buses were. So somebody would have had to come forward and say, yeah, I think I gave that guy a ride, So this gets released yesterday. Okay. Let's see. I want to know if they're going to ask America to do a lineup and put this guy with his mask on with, a bunch of other people with masks on. Also, this is just the guy, for thinking about it. You can't see the guy that actually shoots Brian Thompson. We don't have we see that from the back, but there's got to be a front on shot, because I looked at the cameras and the angles would have had the shooter, like they have one from the opposite angle. I wonder if they're going to release that. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, we see the shooter and you can't see the shooter. Okay. You can see his back, but they have a camera angle that would be you would see Brian Thompson's face as well. Okay. I want to know if they're going to release that. All right. People want to say, well, why would this person do all of this? Well, because clearly this was to send a message, and you don't, when they want to say somebody's being sloppy, if I have to send a message, I put the words on the writing of the bullets, right? Then I'm doing this type of shit, right? I'm sending a message. This is a message. And the only way that you can send a message is by leaving stuff to send your message. That brings me to topic 3, moving right along here. So I'm going to take this down and bring us to topic 3, which is going to be from Hector. So come on down, Hector. What you got for me today? Well, Lana, I'm so glad that you asked. What I have is what you asked me to get. And that's going to be the official public release of the press release from the Office of Public Affairs of the United States Department of Justice, which is the Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. So literally 3 weeks before the assassination of this man, Brian Thompson, the CEO. This goes out, which is the Justice Department sues to block United Health Group's acquisition of home health and hospice provider AIM-DC. I'm just calling it A for this purpose of me reading this. I'm not going to sit here and fuck up the name over and over and over. So with that said, we'll zoom in a little bit for your guys' comfort. We are not having an eye exam this morning. So here we go. Again, this is just 3 weeks before. So it was made then public. Hey guys, we're back on their asses. We already went through this was the United States attempt to prevent the change in United Health Group acquisition, buying Change, it went through. So now we have 11/12/2024, which is the DOJ. You can see the date that it was filed, and then the press release here. And so to keep it very simple, the DOJ was going and stopping or attempting to stop this, which is transaction threatens to negatively affect care for vulnerable patients and harm home health and hospice nurses critical to providing that care. The Justice Department, together with the attorneys general of Maryland, Illinois, New Jersey, and New York. And so what's interesting, I'm going to point this out, that the fake ID was from New Jersey, and New Jersey is one of Maryland, Illinois, New Jersey, and New York. They filed together with the United States of America, okay, for this new, we're suing. Filed a civil antitrust lawsuit today to block United Health Group Incorporated. So United Health, their proposed $3.3 billion acquisition of rival home health and hospice services provided by The complaint filed in the District of Maryland alleges that the transaction would eliminate competition between United Health and A. So when you eliminate competition, so think about in the game Monopoly, you're competing, right? You have competition, everyone owns stuff. And then what do you start doing? You start trying to buy people's property so that you can create a monopoly. Okay, so in the game Monopoly, remember, you're all out to go buy property, and then you're trying to buy other people's property so that you can create this monopoly that you own everything and you win the game. Since United Health's prior acquisition of A Home Health and Hospice rival LHC Group, so United Health went and got this company first, okay, and they did that in 2023. Defendants have been two of the largest home health and hospice providers in the United States. So, eliminating the competition between United Health and A would harm patients who receive home health and hospice services, insurers who contract for home health, and it goes on and on and on. You can read this press release. But this is what just got released 3 weeks before the murder, was that you guys are going to be back at it again because we're trying to prevent this monopoly. But this monopoly is worse, in my opinion, because I think the people that need to be asked on why they would even be selling, okay, that's what I want to ask is why? Like, why are you doing it? American healthcare is unwell. Unless this $3.3 billion transaction is stopped, United Health Group will further extend its grip to home health and hospice care, threatening seniors, their families, and nurses. So this is everything that's against, this is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. So there you go. This is, again, 3 weeks before the murder, this comes out. Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. And that they're back at it, that we are going to try to stop this from happening. Now, the fourth thing that we're going to talk about is they have said that we know who the killer is. We've identified the killer, but we're not going to tell anybody. We're not going to tell anybody. What are your thoughts on that? We've identified the killer, but we're not going to tell anybody. How do you feel about that? I'm going to re-share. There we go. Hey guys, we know who this is, but we're not going to tell you. What? Now, my next question is do you think that they told the people that could possibly be, hey, this guy just murdered a CEO. I also work for that company. I'm a pretty high up, or, I'm an investor. You're not going to tell me who could potentially be after to try to kill me. So now my next question is do you think that those people were notified? Hey, we're going to tell you because we think your life is in danger. Molly, you in danger, girl. Now, sounds like somebody trying to buy time for me. Is someone trying to buy some time? I think it's like, sounds like someone trying to buy time. So we're going to go here to, in 2018, this was the lake house that was owned by Brian Thompson. I would have kept this house personally. Literally, it's on the lake. There's a boat ramp or a boat lift. And I mean, this is where I would want to spend my time. But this was sold. Then next up, I'm going to show you that graph again. Well, this is one of the homes that they bought. And they both lived in very similar homes in 2018, which we're going to get into here in a second, which is, I want to show you the graph though. Let's talk about this graph again. Again, 10 to 2023, United Health reported, it was not known to the public, but United Health reportedly notified of DOJ probe. And then that's when Hemsley sells off his $65 million in proceeds that he received then from his stock. So this is right around a year prior to the murder. Then, if that wasn't good enough, just 6 weeks later, Hemsley sells shares for the proceeds of $36 million. Then a week before it's going to go public that the DOJ, the news of the DOJ investigation becomes public is on February 27th, 2024. A week before that, Thompson sells shares for proceeds of $15 million. So then if you look at this 2024 suit, they're talking about the fact that they lied. There's depositions, and it would have come out that they were lying. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. This is criminal. What did Martha Stewart go to frickin' prison for? Okay. Over some like nothing on this type of level, right? Martha Stewart's poor ass gets hauled off in cuffs, right? Martha Stewart goes to prison. Okay. Well, what's going to happen to these people? This is insider trading. But how pissed would you be if you were an investor? Okay. And these dudes, 3 of them, decide to hang on to this information, not tell these investors who have a ton of money in stocks, right? And you guys all dumped your shit. And I find out because this then comes out. So the investors are like, you son of a bitches. Okay. That's who Brian was going to see at that meeting, were people that were investing, just like if he, same as him. And here you knew something. You don't tell the public. You don't tell us. And the shares dropped like $27. I'd be pretty pissed. Because I would just say, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, so I'd be pretty pissed. Anyways. I think these people would have the most as far as like when you want to talk about like how much money and who they would also know Brian's movements if they were like tight with him. The closest people to fuck you over when you see a situation like this, it's someone that you think is your friend, right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. So, then, is this a game to the killer? Like, I want you guys to hear what this person said on News Nation. I think it was last night. So I want you guys to see this. And is this the game? I don't think it's a game. I think it's a message, and it's a message to Americans. And it's like they want us to know everything that's been going on, because for whatever reason, this isn't not making nowhere near it wasn't getting the public attention that it deserved and that it needs, and the true root of how this is all being, like, why our healthcare is where it's at. And there's all this shifty business going on with acquiring, having these mergers, buying. I mean, I did not know to the extent of what it was until this man was murdered. And then I did my research. Okay, here we go. Let's take a listen in.
Don't want you release that now. If you do, you're basically giving a tip to the person we're seeking, and we do not want to give him an upper hand at all. Let him continue to believe he can hide behind a mask. We're going to, just as we revealed his face, we're going to reveal who he is, and we're going to bring him to justice.
The investigation already includes a significant amount of physical evidence. The bullet casings with the words deny, defend, depose inscribed, leading to...
Okay, so let's say that they do know who the person is. I don't believe that they know where he's at, right? Just because you identified this person, let's say, I don't believe that they know where he's at. So that would be a reason to keep his name back, right?
To speculation, the motive is linked to the insurance industry. Late Friday, an extensive drone and foot search of Central Park located another key piece of evidence, the distinctive gray backpack worn by the killer as he executed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
I have questions surrounding if that's the backpack, by the way. If that's the actual one that's being worn on the back there versus it was just a backpack that had, it had a Tommy Hilfiger jacket in there as well as gun Monopoly money.
The backpack is now at a crime lab for forensic testing, and police have not revealed what was inside, in particular, whether the murder weapon was inside.
It has since been released that there's been no murder weapon, no gun in there, but again, a jacket and Monopoly money. Now, I bet you there's more, but that's all they were willing to release.
But the item which made the bag appear full was reported Reportedly, the hooded jacket by the killer. The reward now at $60,000. Hundreds of tips are coming in about the suspect as police continue to search.
Now, people have asked me, Lana, what do you think about the fact that the wife or his family has not upped the reward with their own money to say, we're making it $1 million, $1 million if you come forward with the information that leads to this man's arrest? Well, let me just throw this out there. Authorities sometimes will say, don't do that because then we're going to get crazy ass people calling in, okay, and drowning out some resources. Like, we don't need to do that right now. We know who he is. We're looking for him, but we just can't find him. Okay. And so we don't want to release his name. So that would be that would go against what that they've already determined the way that they're going to go about this. So that's why I believe, I don't think it's that the family wouldn't or the family hasn't offered that. I think that would have gotten shot down because of the way that they've chosen to go about the investigation.
Search Central Park and pour through hundreds of hours of surveillance.
The manner in which they were able to follow his footsteps to recover evidence, some of it is known, some of it is unknown, but the net is tightening, and we're going to bring this person to justice.
Now, this bus terminal accommodates multiple lines, including Greyhound, and we have learned that all.
Okay, you guys, I'm having deja vu. This is Nancy Liu, baby. What is up, girl? Give it up for Nancy Liu. Let me tell you guys about Nancy Liu. Nancy Liu just happened to be on the University of Idaho's campus shooting, a segment for News Nation. And Nancy Liu had a run-in with some cowboys, aka were they U.S. Marshals? Were they feds? But I'm getting Nancy Liu deja vu. So cheers, Nancy. But Nancy Liu couldn't even, why don't you run them plates, Nancy? Come on, girl. We know you know who the hell that was in those vehicles. We know you got their plates. We know you just holding out.
Greyhound buses are equipped with cameras, so it's likely investigators know where the suspect was headed, as Mayor Adams alluded to. Police and the FBI may be closing in. Natasha?
Yeah, we shall see. Nancy Liu in New York City tonight. Thank you. And let's bring in News Nation national security contributor, former FBI special agent and CIA officer Tracy Walder. Tracy, always good to see you. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
So we're looking at these details. Authorities now have the burner phone, the water bottle he may have dropped. They are testing for DNA on that backpack. What is standing out to you at this point in the investigation and the manhunt?
So I know people may come for me for this, but I'm actually not convinced that the backpack will yield a whole lot as well as DNA. Part of the issue with that is once they have the DNA, it actually becomes very time consuming to process for a couple reasons.
Ooh.
The first issue is that the state of New York, unless you have actually been convicted of a crime, your DNA is not going to be in the system. So that is going to be problematic. They can start doing familial or genealogical DNA, which is how they found Bryan Kohberger.
Oh, shit.
But that process can take, 3 weeks to a month as well.
3 weeks to a month?
I'm actually not
Shut the fuck
convinced
up.
that DNA is how they are going to catch this individual. I think it's going to be through the video canvassing as well as possibly his phone.
Yeah, it looks like police have deployed a dive team in the fountains in Central Park. What would they be searching for?
I believe if they've deployed a dive team, they are most likely looking for.
Did you guys just hear that? She says that it would be 3 weeks to a month. Okay, talking about this DNA using Familia. You want to know why she's saying that? And I'm going to tell you why. Because it would be a law enforcement kit. Law enforcement kits, remember what I told you guys, you have to pay so much money that it costs to put a law enforcement kit into the Familia DNA databases, which is normally like a JED match. That's like legal, and to do it like without using like the loophole, because if you're going to try to use the loophole, if it hasn't since been fixed, they've had 2 years to fix that. Like it was used in the Bryan Kohberger case. It takes a lot more time to get your the paperwork, the approval. That's what I was able to learn during the Bryan Kohberger case, that if it was an uploaded kit that was via law enforcement, you have to pay to put in this law enforcement kit. They send you a bunch of papers, you're filling them out, and it's like $500 to $700. So there's this paper trail. And then just everything takes longer than versus if you just go as a private consumer that you're just uploading it to see and you're working it though from the standpoint of law enforcement. That would be that's unethical. Number one, you're using a loophole then to pull kits or profiles that could have opted out of law enforcement databasing. So it would take, why she is saying it would take 3 to 4 weeks is if you do it the right way, if you're doing it ethically, and if you put in that DNA into a Familia database like GEDmatch, that shit takes time. They didn't do that in the Bryan Kohberger case. It's going to come out. There is no receipt. I can't wait till they try to produce a receipt for them to say that they paid $500 to $700 to do this. There would be a receipt with that.
Through the video canvassing as well as possibly his phone.
Yeah, it looks like police have deployed a dive team in the fountains in Central Park. What would they be searching for?
The fucking gun.
I believe if they've deployed a dive team, they are most likely looking for the murder weapon.
Dumb
that
bitch.
would be the most likely place that he.
They're looking for fish. All right. There's some witnesses and they are fish over there. You understand? A fountain dive team, you guys. Yes, a fountain dive team. What would they be looking for? What do you? They're looking for the pennies, all the wishes. They're gonna then the killer threw a penny in there, made a wish. I wish I wouldn't get caught. Okay, we got some fishes that are 100% witnesses. We're looking for those fish. I mean, just the stupidest interviews I think I've ever come across. Like, we just have to have this be a 5-minute segment though, so.
It would have really tossed that aside, typically because obviously water is difficult to find things in, and it would wipe off any fingerprints. If you noticed in the video that they have of him killing Mr. Thompson, he does not have gloves on. And so this is an individual that, in my opinion, knew he was going to be able to throw away that weapon and not have fingerprints on it.
Let's talk about the level of expertise and planning here. I mean,
Yes.
according to Thompson's wife, the CEO had been getting threats. Does this look like a professional hit job to you or an amateur?
Of course
with a
it
grudge?
does.
I think both, Natasha. I'm sorry to sound ambiguous about that. I think the
Ambiguous.
first thing is, a lot of people were talking about how this individual was some kind of highly trained assassin and this is what this person did for a living. I don't think that. I think if that was the case, this individual would have hit Mr. Thompson initially. He really wasn't that far from center mass and he missed that first shot. And so that.
Wait, he missed the first shot? How do you know that? He missed the first shot? What? Thompson looks to seem to react right after the shot was fired with the particles coming up out. Hence why you would have GSR on your hands then. What? So he missed the first shot? This is news to me.
This is someone that has clearly trained with a weapon, but is not some kind of highly trained assassin. However, to write that on the bullet casings, to be in New York City 10 days before Mr. Thompson was there, to know what hotel he was going to be at, this really did take a high level of planning.
What do you think the motive may have been here?
How could it be a high level of planning when someone's just giving you the information? So I think that's a bad word to say, a high level of planning. No, this is a high level of intel, personal intel. Personal intel. Okay, there's no way you can, unless you came from Minnesota and you were literally following him from Minnesota and followed him everywhere he went until he would have gotten to like this point to know what hotel he was at. And what they're saying is that that didn't happen because homeboy came from Atlanta. Okay. This is intel. He has intel, and the intel is personal knowledge. He was given personal knowledge. This shooter was given personal knowledge of what hotel Brian Thompson was staying at. Okay. So that would lead to who would know where Brian Thompson was staying. somebody in his inner circle coughed up that information, or they hacked his personal email. Who all knew where Brian Thompson was staying? That's your list. That's your write down. We need to talk to these people. We need to see. And then Brian Thompson's phone, okay, is more valuable than this guy's phone. Who was Brian Thompson communicating with? But what was Brian Thompson truly keeping on his phone? And tell me that it wouldn't be crazy encrypted. Okay. Could they even get into Brian Thompson's phone? Man, it's only on Iris. We gotta go down to the morgue. You know, I'm just saying, like, this person knew where he was staying. So how do you explain that?
My gut says it has to do with insurance. So it has to do with
no way. My gut says it has to do with insurance. Oh my God. What else would it have to do with? My gut says, well, by golly, your gut. Woo, baby. I am dead. Cheers. That is awesome. Cheers. Cheers to that one right there. My gut says it has to do with insurance. Well, no shit. I don't think it has to do with the NBA, you know, or freaking WNBA.
a lack of coverage, a lack of providing being done by the insurance company. Maybe someone close to this individual was denied services and was
Oh, so now you're going to say that it has to do with a disgruntled patient that had somehow gained all this knowledge about where Brian Thompson, you know, how about that? We get half of Brian Kohlberger and we mix half of it with Bill Thompson and we get Brian Thompson. And now people are fucking trolling me.
denied life-saving coverage. Maybe this individual was, I don't know. But
Jesus.
I do think that it had to do with denial of coverage.
Tracy Walder, appreciate you as always. Thank you so much.
Absolutely
Thanks for watching.
ridiculous.
Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the
I do appreciate it though. Like I appreciate people's opinions, but that opinion is just out of this world. Like, wow. Like nobody wants to talk about, there are some people saying like, how did he know his hotel room? It's bingo. That's why you ask yourself that. I want to talk about right where she mentions Brian Kohlberger here. Why are you mentioning Brian Kohlberger?
3 weeks to a month as well.
Yeah, right
And so
there. Right there. Let's talk about that. Let's get that.
will yield a whole lot as well as DNA. Part of the issue with that is once they have the DNA, it actually becomes very time consuming to process for a couple reasons. The first issue is that the state of New York, unless you have actually been convicted of a crime, your
A felony.
DNA is not going to be in the system. So that is going to be problematic. They can start doing familiar or genealogical DNA, which is how they found Brian Kohlberger, but
Allegedly how they found Brian Kohlberger. Okay. Allegedly. I'm going to need you to use that word.
that process can take, 3 weeks to a month as well. And so
You guys, if that process takes 3 weeks to a month, I think we need to subpoena her. I think she needs to be Ann Taylor's next subpoena. This is crazy. This is absolute crazy. Because it does take that long. If you're doing, once you get the kit, and you have your snips and you're making a profile, and you upload it, because then you gotta build your motherfucking tree. Who's gonna do that? And then
I'm actually not convinced that DNA is how they are going to catch this individual. I think it's going to be through the video canvassing as well as possibly his phone.
Yeah, it looks like police have deployed a dive team in the fountains in Central Park. What would they be
a dive team in the fountains. It looks like they've deployed a dive team in the fountains.
searching for?
What could they possibly be searching for? Best moment right here.
I believe if they've deployed a dive team, they are most likely looking for the murder weapon. That would be the most likely place that he would.
All right, I just had to say that one more time. All right, guys, thank you. They deployed a dive team in the fountains. Okay. So now, again, is this a game to the killer? Well, if this is a game to the killer, then I'm sorry. I think y'all in danger. You need to run. You all are in danger, Molly. And that leads me to my next thing, which is, would others be in danger? And if they think that this is a game, yeah. How about this? It's been how many days, and we haven't had like, where's like a good, when are we going to get that next press conference? When is United Health? You know, how many people do you think have been interviewed from United Health? Asking them a bunch of questions. Yeah. And then I just go back to, well, the black men that were driving those cars, those SUVs that were sitting out there all night, they claim that the shooter was out there all night. That person was out there all night. And so we're not going to suppress that interview. We're going to make sure that interview stays front and center. With that said, the next thing I want to point out, as my last 10 minutes is going to be running up here, I'm trying to keep it at right under an hour. So let's pull up my handy dandy timeline in review. So as I'm adding to it, if you see it in yellow, that means it's been added to. Okay. All right. First thing is Brian Thompson. You guys, come on, man. You take half of Bill Thompson, and I get the Thompson part, and I take half of Brian Kohlberger, and I got, that's my Brian part. So now I just merged, and now I have morphed into Brian Thompson. Crazy. Small world. So Brian Thompson's DUI, 2017. I added that to the list. Brian Thompson and his wife living in separate houses. They don't get divorced, but they bought that other house in 2018. I showed you one of those pictures. They did not sell the other house that he had at the time. And I'm actually going to get some clarification on this because I want to see if this was a question now. We'll see. Or if they've kept it and they're Airbnb-ing it, because something's weird with that. So I'm making a note. I'm double checking that. The DOJ press release, that's new that I just showed you guys today, November 12th. And so do the math. And as you can see, that's just 3 weeks before the murder. The shooter travel has stayed the same. The 24th now is the arrival. And then here we're going to bring up the last point right here. Remember, checked out and then rechecked in. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. My thoughts on this is very simple. I believe that the killer, if you were to ask this person and they were to look it up, all right, and they said, oh, yeah, no, he was here from the 24th. Oh, and then he checked out on the 28th. Because it would be a separate reservation to then recheck in on the 29th. So do I believe that was on purpose? I do. I believe it was on purpose because if somebody was to give you this name and you looked up this reservation, it would look like they checked out. So 24th to the 28th. And then if the person didn't do a good enough job to say, oh, but wait, hold on. I want to know if there was a note then in there to say, oh, but they rechecked in on the 29th. Hoping that somebody would have been sloppy, thinking that the guy checked out on the 28th and never rechecked in on the 29th. So I do believe that was done on purpose. If somebody was to look up that name and only catch that first reservation. So making sure that everybody understands. That's how I feel about that. It's just another layer of him trying to, that's how methodical this was. And then the question begs to say, well, where was he between the 28th and the 29th? Oh, I forgot to, why wasn't this added? On the 24th, when he checks in, he actually goes to the Hilton first, just for like 30 minutes. Okay. I added that for you guys. He actually goes to the Hilton first, then goes and checks in. And then you have to ask, where was he between November 28th and the 29th? Also, could he have still stayed the 28th night, and then it'd just be like a glitch in the system on how we did it. So, but that needs to be like, where was he? I don't think he was, maybe he was at the Hilton, setting up cameras in Brian's room. I'm kidding. Again, when you look at the ropes here, you can see that that's where the picture's taken. So these are straight from the website. You can see right here, the couch, whatever, if you want to call it a couch, stool. But, and I think the last thing I added here at the end was, let's see. Monopoly money was added. So this is new. So Saturday, December 7th, 2024 was announced. Book bag was found on Friday, though, December 6th. The book bag went straight to the lab. It was not opened. The new picture from the cab ride to the bus station was released. And then there was no more black covering and wearing a surgical mask instead. So that would be new. And that's where now what I'm going to post here later on today at some point is the discrepancies of, I believe that there was multiple people dressed like he was dressed. So I believe multiple people were dressed like he was dressed, which then would trick the cameras when you're trying to follow this individual. And why I believe that is because I don't believe it's possible. When they said that he arrived, there was camera footage that he arrived at the Hilton at 5:41 a.m. And I don't believe that's possible based on then the footage of somebody coming up out of the 57th substation at 6:15. I believe that if that would align with everything that they were trying to do, this person was trying to do with everything else, like the whole Monopoly money, how planned this was, how they know that this town has cameras all over. We need to have multiple people. And that's to trick the trying to follow the cameras. Now, I want to show you what these cameras look like. I have 7 minutes to show this, so I stay within my hour. I want to show you what these cameras look like when you're looking at the dot loop or whatever it's called. I think that's how they're calling it. It's called the dot. Let me upload this to my phone. I've been following live. I've been watching all of you buggers in Manhattan. Here we go. We're going to use the real-time traffic information, and it's the New York. Here we go. I'm sure you guys know about this, or if you don't, then here you go. But you guys can follow these cameras in New York. There's cameras all over, but you can watch them in real time. It reminds me of when I lived in Key West. In Key West, we would be idiots, and we would know where the cameras are. So then we would tell people to go, like our friends, to go watch, and we're about to go get on the cameras. I'm sure friends have from time to time decided to flash the cameras, but it's all alleged. All right, here we go. So let's take a look at the 84th Ave Street. All right, so this is what we're looking at, and this is what they were looking at. I'll make it bigger for you guys. And so you could pick wherever you want to. Right now it's 12, 8. This can't be real time. What time is it right now? Twelve eight. Oh, this is interesting. So you could go through all of these New York City dot and find, but it's supposed to run in real time. 8, 12, 2024. And this right here would be telling me that's 3:56. Oh, minus maybe, is it in UTC time? Then it would be 10:56. Yeah, it's in UTC time. So it is right because you have to subtract down the 7 hours. Okay, it's in UTC time. So it is. It's 10:56 and 42 seconds. Now it's 10, so it goes every 2 seconds. But you could watch. Okay? So we're trying to see if we could get back, how can we watch cameras that happen, back on that date? Because maybe we can get a bunch of people and let's start doing our own, sleuthing. But the last thing I want to point out is, I'll stop sharing this for a second and reshare when I go. Let's see. So when you go back to these webcams, it was interesting because it's about the, let's see the traffic speed right now. Okay. Let's go back to my list. Let's go back to my map. All right, I want to show you guys the map, the view of the map, because then you could click on what you want to see when you want to see it. So if we go back to the map view and I make it bigger for me to work with. Okay. So when I zoom in, and we're in Manhattan here, and we're gonna go closer. 60, 56, 70, 57th. Right here, let's see. '56, so 57, 51st. Let's even go closer. 55th, okay. See, here's the New York Hilton Midtown right here. And then now let's see. I want to show you where this one camera is because I think it's crap. Hold on, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and let me get you the other one. Okay. And this screen is all of these cameras. See the bike routes here? See the cameras? I'll zoom in. Okay, the cameras are in green. So this is what I thought was interesting when I was doing this. Is I said, okay, well, which way were these cameras pointing when he was riding his bike? So I went and I looked at where am I? Hold on. Okay, right here. Okay. See, this is the park here. Do you see this camera? Now check this out. This is where they were trying to say that he would have been entering. See where it says Center Drive right here? This is where he was waiting at the supposed stoplight for the traffic to go. So I'm like, where did they get that camera view? I wonder if it's like someone's private place right here, because let's take a look. See where this is pointing? See, nothing's pointing towards, like, watch. When I click on that, did it share with you guys on that side? Okay. It's pointing the other way when I've done my work. So, but these are all in real time, and they would have been able to go right to this, you know. And then take a look at, if I go back to show you guys the map. And share back to this screen. Oh, hold on. Not that one. Yeah, this one. Oh, shitballs. Okay, so this is Central Park here. And what they said he did is he comes in Center Drive, and then he was like zigzagging, they say. But then right here, this 65th transverse, he would have made a left this way, and then comes up, then makes a right on West Drive, and goes to West 77th. And right here, this is the camera that catches him at West 77th. That's on the street. That's on the sheet that we have, which should have been this one. And I think it catches him when he's coming out right here. But look at these cameras. Dude, like I mean, they're all right. They're all right, but I mean, dude, there's multiple people that were dressed like him. I'm telling you. You're going to have the capability to zoom in and stuff like that, but this is what they did. This is how they did it. So there you guys go. That's all that I got for you guys this morning hour. I have a lot more later on. Make sure you guys go out and buy your Monopoly money and play with your kids. Get back on the saddle, play some Monopoly, see how you do. But this is very organized. This is organized. This isn't, woo, la la la. No. Thank you guys so much. On your way out, thumbs up the video, share it. Make sure we're passing around good information. So, Banana there, I feel like they know more than one person's involved. Also could be like, yeah, everything's always just one person. That's always going to be the United States motto. Like, this was a lone wolf. This is one person. So cheers, you guys. Welcome to becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate you. This person had help. There was multiple people. No doubt about it. Very organized. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you this afternoon at some point. All you guys, Idaho 4. You guys, how many times can they talk about Brian Kober in this case? Because I've counted a couple different times. So, peace. out. Thank you, moderators. Appreciate you.